Hi, everyone. I am getting a very special but also important message for a specific divine feminine. The message coming through is you are an enchantress that doesn't need a spell. So essentially, you have done this level of inner work within yourself. And I'm getting that this has been a very gradual process of going deep within yourself. You most likely were in a very extended hermit mode. You've been through at least one spiritual awakening, if not multiple. You've been in what we sometimes refer to as the cocoon, which is that space of, yes, isolation and hermiting, but also radical transformation. And now you're emerging as that butterfly. And so what I'm picking up here is that you are carrying a huge amount of light in your being. And just like that butterfly has freedom to fly when it used to have to crawl as the caterpillar, I feel that you used to be restricted or limited in certain ways prior to your transformation, but those limitations have been spiritually removed because of that metamorphosis that you had to undergo completely alone in that state of isolation. You've most likely felt and sensed this newfound freedom as this kind of symbolic butterfly that you now are. And other people around you pick up on it subconsciously, if not seeing and noticing evidence of it literally. So because of this rare combination taking place in your life where you've undergone this transformation, yes, you've achieved this level of freedom. You are kind of flying between timelines and dimensions and living as this sort of butterfly energy, which we will be talking about more in future videos. But essentially, when you are this butterfly, when you've undergone those intense metamorphic transformations within yourself, within that cocoon, and now emerged, you have the ability to manifest with a kind of ease and grace that wasn't accessible to you before when, again, you were like that caterpillar crawling on the grounds. I'm hearing that you used to need certain specific tools, resources, certain even material things, very rigid routines, formulas, in order to access your magic and power. Like that caterpillar kind of crawling on the ground, you were restricted to certain kinds of logical modalities. But now, as this butterfly, you've achieved this kind of spiritual freedom where you are the spell, you are the manifestation technique. Your energy speaks for itself, and you are capable of manifesting with this kind of grace and ease and naturalness because it's just the essence of your being. You don't require the same tools or even routines or formulas that you may have required in the past. And in fact, recently, you may have even noticed yourself feeling guided away from some of these things. These were almost like your training wheels. They were things that you needed in that previous phase to help keep you grounded, to help stabilize you in a sense, to kind of get you in the rhythm of accessing your own power through these conscious modalities. But the thing is, the training wheels are coming off because you've learned how to ride the bike. You've learned how to have your balance here. And without the training wheels, yes, there is more risk at times for feeling as though you might topple over, which is completely okay because there will be times where you do feel like you might lose your balance for a moment. And maybe you felt some of that recently too, that with this freedom comes more of a fall sometimes as well. So know that emotional volatility here is normal. The more powerful the waves, the further they can move you, but also the stronger you can feel pulled under them at times. And I feel like you're working with really strong, unrestricted, energetic waves at this time that very few people are going to be able to understand because they haven't done the inner work and gone through the trial by fire that you've gone through, the metamorphosis that you've gone through. So most likely you've been feeling everything I'm talking about here, but you don't really have many people that you can discuss this with because it's been such a unique journey. It's an experience that's very unique to you and a very limited collective of divine feminines that were self-selected in the sense that their souls volunteered for this kind of metamorphic process where they would achieve a level of freedom that they would then teach to other people. So if you've noticed that you are doing things entirely differently from people around you, that means you're right on track because those are outdated formulas according to your new system. They might work for individuals who are still in that caterpillar phase, which is part of why we can get so confused too in this transition that we've gone through as this specific collective of divine feminines, because there are many people around you in a previous phase of their spiritual evolution, still at that kind of caterpillar level that you were once at, who are now beginning to come across and access certain tools that you used to utilize and see benefit from. Because again, these were your training wheels. But now that you've become the butterfly, a butterfly can't crawl on the ground for the long term. It's too light. It's naturally going to want to take with the wind and fly. And your energy has become too light to put yourself back down on the ground like that caterpillar and go about crawling. It wouldn't be plausible for you to do that as the butterfly. And just like a butterfly is kind of above the earth, so it's more visible when it's flying, the rare combination of things happening here that we need to talk about is that you are being more seen by others, more sensed, more visible since your transformation. This most likely has felt like a bit of an uncomfortable, strange, but maybe even exciting change, where for a while you felt very hidden away from the world, and that was intentional. That was all part of the process, the metamorphosis, if you will. And in that void, you became this butterfly kind of energy, someone who would embody this level of freedom, but also this beauty, this effortlessness, this grace. And I'm hearing also that you've become some kind of spiritual example or spiritual messenger for others. Even if you're not literally in the traditional spiritual space, know that everything you create and that you do and that you infuse this energy of freedom and love into becomes spiritual. You infuse the things you engage with physically with your own spiritual essence, and they then are transmuted into something sacred. Anything you touch, in a sense, with your energy in an intentional way becomes sacred, even if that isn't what it was initially, and even if it doesn't necessarily look inherently spiritual from an external perspective. Everything you are doing and creating and infusing your energy into automatically becomes spiritual because it carries your very high vibrational essence and energy. And for some reason, it keeps getting emphasized that very few people are going to understand your journey. And in those moments where you feel really lost, you may kind of seek out guidance or a counselor or an advice giver or someone to understand you. But the guides are being very cautious about where you get your advice, because I'm hearing make sure you're not getting your advice from the wrong level of frequency. And when I say wrong, I mean wrong for you because it's misaligned with your higher energy, not necessarily wrong for someone else. Remember, what works for someone else at a different stage of their spiritual development may not work for you. You are really out here on the forefront of the collective, creating new programs, new formulas, new ways of doing things that are much more based in these higher fifth dimensional energies, in unconditional love, in freedom, in oneness, unity, abundance, peace, ease, flow. And so these new programs, they are going to look entirely different from what's been done before. And they are only going to become accessible to people who do that inner work and raise their level of energy to being able to comprehend and utilize those formulas. They're not going to be for everyone right away. When I say you're out on the forefront here as this kind of energetic alchemist, I'm almost getting this vision of you being an inventor for a company that sells technology of some kind physically. And it's almost like you're out there innovating, creating new technologies that are then being tested, that you're testing, that you're envisioning out into the future. You're not trying to recreate a technology that was already created 20 years ago. And you're really not even focused on the functionality of that device. You are pushing the limits. You are actually discovering that there are no limits, and you're teaching that to others. But again, these new technologies you are creating are only for a special few right now, because most people have not raised their level of consciousness to being able to comprehend and effectively utilize those new technologies. They're still in the stage where they actually do need the previous technologies or the training wheels, but know that as we continue this ascension process, more and more people are actually going to be seeking out and accessing the technologies you are creating. I'm definitely picking up on a divine feminine who is ahead of her time, meaning you are out there inventing, creating, doing things that right now you might be kind of confused because you're creating or doing these things and you know that they're powerful. You know what kind of powerful effects or impacts the things that you're creating could have on others, but you might not yet be seeing that response from other people who are currently perceiving or seeing the things that you're creating. It kind of reminds me of an artist that they say is ahead of their time. You know how sometimes an artist will create, for example, a music album and it won't do well 1 year, people won't really receive it well at all. And then 5 or 6 years later, that exact album just blows up into massive success and it resonates with millions of people around the world. It feels like that is you, that you are the artist creating an album or doing something, but it's almost like you're working with a future timeline in which more people are going to be at a higher frequency later on down the line in that future timeline and able to resonate with, access, find, and connect with whatever you're creating now. But it's so essential that you don't stop creating now because you get discouraged by how people are currently receiving you. Because I'm just getting how they're receiving your creations now is not a strong indication. It's no indication at all of how they're going to be receiving you in the future. You are creating in your future, in a sense. You're creating things that are going to have a massive impact in the future, in this futuristic timeline that hasn't yet fully materialized yet. It's almost like you're in these building stages where you're building and creating and inventing these new formulas, new creations, new whatever this is for you. Of course, we're speaking in kind of generalized spiritual terms, but you can apply this in a very concrete and specific way in your life. You are out there creating those things. And you're going to find that although people may not necessarily receive them right away, you're going to be attracting this increasing visibility, increasing attention for whatever you're doing in whatever way that applies for you. And eventually you are going to see massive success from the exact things you are doing or envisioning or creating now. This is so interesting because this wasn't even the intention of this reading. This really wasn't the direction I expected this to take, because what I meant to discuss and what I want to touch upon now is I don't want to say the danger, the pitfall of your energy, because that's a negative connotation. It's not dangerous. It's just something to be aware of. And in fact, something that you're probably already aware of, which is you have an energy that is so powerful and holds such a high level of consciousness and vibration that people tend to become very easily addicted to you and to your energy. In fact, the exact downloaded message I was receiving prior to starting this recording is people become addicted to your energy even before they realize what's happening. So I don't just mean this romantically. You carry such a high degree of consciousness and vibration, and it's so addicting to be around someone who carries such a super rare high vibrational frequency, because you actually naturally receive a little bit of a benefit from that. It almost becomes, I've described it before, like a good luck charm, where when someone has the privilege of being connected to you, even in a slight way, they will actually notice an uptick in opportunities and things flowing more easily in their life. For example, if you become friends with someone and you're communicating regularly, suddenly that friend might get promoted at work or get a raise because people around them are subconsciously noticing and picking up on the fact that they are connected to a very powerful generator of spiritual energy that is naturally raising their vibration as a byproduct. So it's actually, in a sense, your energy that is getting promoted or elevated or recognized through that person's raise or promotion. Now, of course, we're all interconnected. This isn't an egotistical thing. It goes both ways all the time. But since you have the stronger energy, the higher vibrational energy in this situation, you are the uplifter of everyone and everything around you. Not that, of course, you're taking credit for other people's accomplishments or anything like that, but just that people being connected to you receive a massive positive influence. And I actually feel like you're someone who's very humble about this, even though you're aware of it. So when you see someone else thrive as a result of being connected to you, of course, you're not taking credit for it because you have a very gentle, compassionate, empathic kind of soul. You accomplish or you applaud other people when you see them succeeding, even if you know their successes have most likely been a byproduct of being connected to you to some extent. Again, it's not that you're creating outcomes for others, but you are a very positive influencer. So what's happening here is people sense this subconsciously, even if they don't recognize it consciously, and they become addicted to it. But the problem is, if someone doesn't recognize you consciously or feel an appreciation for how you are positively impacting them, then what happens is they kind of close their end of the energy equation. If someone takes your energy for granted or they don't recognize the positive benefit of having you in their life and express that either energetically or literally, this closes a kind of valve. And what happens is you begin to find yourself in an unbalanced connection. In fact, at times, people who become addicted to you can even become resentful of you. Again, this doesn't happen every time, but sometimes someone who becomes hooked on your energy and doesn't consciously recognize the benefit that you're giving them, who maybe is taking all of the credit for themselves or just assuming that it's pure luck or chance, which is more likely here, that they're just assuming it's just a sudden change in fate or it's just luck. And they don't recognize the value that you are bringing to their life through being connected with them, and they're not appreciative of that with their energy, then you will actually find yourself in a connection that feels as though it's draining you because they're taking your energy without feeling or expressing that openness of gratitude that then keeps that positive energy flowing both ways. That is why they say, in kind of cliche terms, to go where you are appreciated. There's actually a really deep spiritual meaning to this, especially in your case, because when you go where you are feeling appreciated, again, it's not always expressed in words, but you're very intuitive and it's something that you can sense. When you go where you're feeling appreciated, essentially, you're going where your energy is recognized and valued for what it is, even if that valuation is happening on a subconscious level. Therefore, you're going where there is this equal exchange of positive energy happening. So yes, you're positively influencing the other person, but they're keeping an open line of positive flow energy on their end where they're sending back to you love and appreciation and true gratitude for having you in their life as well. So it's actually a mutually beautiful and beneficial connection. So going where you are appreciated is so important because your intuition knows who is hooked on your energy, but trying to kind of just take the credit for all of the positive opportunities they are receiving as a result of being connected to you, and who truly recognizes the value and the privilege of having you in their life. So I also really want to share with you, if you are a divine feminine going through this dynamic, a tool that you can use to really help you stay tapped into that center of power within yourself, to also really stay in that high vibrational place where, like that butterfly, you are flowing with your manifestations, manifesting effortlessly, gracefully, shifting into this new phase of your life. Well, really, there are two different subliminal meditations that I'd like to recommend. And the first is the Awakened Divine Feminine, because this is really designed to activate you fully into your power and magnetism as the beautiful, confident, magnetic divine feminine being that you are. This will really help you to love yourself more deeply and to manifest more love and support and positive attention from others. It will also help you to manifest your dreams in life more effortlessly by tapping into that flow state that is so accessible to you now in this new phase of your spiritual journey. The second subliminal I'd recommend is actually brand new in the app, and this is a subliminal called Balanced Transformation. I love this subliminal. I've been using it every single day now because I find that listening to it really helps me to stay grounded and stabilized through the most radical transformations, shifts, and changes in my life. And I've already gotten positive feedback from some users on the app saying that they feel the same way, even just after listening to this once. So this will help you to stay balanced and grounded and clear-minded as you actually facilitate and shift into these continuous phases of evolution on your spiritual journey and in your life. And these subliminals come from my app, Sound and Soulful. And in the app, I have over 130 subliminals for all areas of life. So there are some for love, relationships, money, manifesting specific things, energy clearing, and so much more. So you can explore around the app, and there's even a search feature that you can use to search for these specific subliminals I've recommended in this reading. You can listen to all of them in 10 different background sound options and create your own custom private playlists. So the link to download the app and get started is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. But I want to go ahead and close this reading, which, by the way, has been one of the most unique readings I think I've done recently. So a huge thank you to all of you who have been co-creators here in this reading video. I always say this, but all of these readings really are co-creations from our whole YouTube community here. And of course, if you would like to be part of that and also to get notified whenever I post new readings as I sense energy updates in real time, then I invite you to subscribe to the channel, join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. And I am going to be reading one final Rumi Oracle message. This card is the Dissolving Light. So the guidebook here says, I died as mineral and became a plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as animal and I became human. Why should I fear anything? When was I ever less by dying? Rumi. Dare to take my hand and become set alight with holy fire, my cherished one. Step forward with me. Let us burn together, dissembled in the light that cannot be extinguished. This is the light that burns with such incandescent truth that no falsehood can withstand its audacious vibrancy. Come with me now to the light. Together we shall melt into truth. So I'm going to go ahead and close the reading there. Thank you so much again to all of you here tuned in and listening. You can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself if you feel guided to do so. And of course, the link to get the Sound and Soulful Subliminals app and use my subliminals Balanced Transformation and the Awakened Divine Feminine to really keep yourself grounded, stabilized, and moving into these powerful changes while also being activated into your Divine Feminine Goddess essence. The link to download the app to access those subliminals is in the pinned comment and description box underneath the video. Otherwise, I am sending you all huge amounts of love and light energy. Have an amazing remainder of your day, and I will connect with you here again in the next reading.